This is John Bailey, and you are listening to Deadman Radio on KUOV, FM Radio 100, the best top hits of the 80s and 90s, all night long. Transform and roll out.
Deadman Radio.
Radio.
It's like sex for my ears.
It's the sweet one. Sweet one. Sweet.
What's up?
I do that all the time, man. Nobody knows. They'd be
I
like,
love
"That's awesome."
We are back on Deadman Radio and KOUV, keeping it spooky and everything on the Pacific Northwest. I am your host, Ticker, and we have Skinny and Sarah Graymorn as our hosts.
Hello.
Guys, and we are honored to have the voice that probably most people recognize, John Bailey, man of 1,000 voices. What is up, John? How we doing, man?
John Bailey reporting for duty, sir.
I love it, dude. And you know what? Even though we all know who you are and where you're from, I have to say I've really fell in love with your Instagram posts.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I
Well,
love
all of a sudden, now that they've added reels, people find out that I was there.
that. So you got a face. I love it though. When did you start doing voices for movies and all that stuff? When did you
I
start?
was fixing to say, when I started doing voices, I think I was, probably around 9 months old or so when I started talking. I got the dead. I almost got him. He was drinking something. You can't drink around me, bro. It's coming out the nose one way or another. I was 4 years old when my mom. I tell my wife this story all the time, and she still thinks it's funny because she doesn't exactly get along with it. Well, so it's her mother-in-law. So anyway, she was like, "Oh, I can do the voice of Grover from Sesame Street," and I was such a competitive kid. I was like, "I bet I can do it better than you can." So out of competition with my own mom, I started doing impressions when I was 4. When I got into movie trailers, though, that was right around 2010, I believe it was. Don LaFontaine had passed away tragically at a very young age. He was the OG In a World guy, if anybody did not know. I had posted a video where I was doing all the different movie trailer voice guys that I knew and tried to do them all in one video. So I had written my own trailer and made sure to cover every genre of film in one film. So it had like all these, it was an impression video, but it was kind of, just specifically for movie trailers. And my first manager was just browsing through YouTube after Don passed away. And because that video had done pretty well, it showed up pretty high in the searches. And so he found me and checked me out, and they sent me some copy to try out. And I booked like 3 out of 4 of the trailers that they had sent me auditions for on my very first try doing auditions for movie trailers. And then he offered to manage me, and he'd never done that he ran a trailer company, so he never offered or managed anyone before. So that was new for him too, and did really well for me, but not as well as he personally thought I could do or wanted me to do. So he found the best manager in the business for trailers, and that's my current manager. And they gave me a shot. They were like, we call you a hip pocket or back pocket talent, or you try you out and see how you do. And then we decided whether we want to sign you or not. And that's what led to, because they were mainly trailer and promo, but they had this audition come across. Like, do you do an Adam Sandler voice? I'm like, oh yeah, I do tons of sound alikes. And they're like, well, can you try this audition out? I'm like, sure. So it was the first Hotel Transylvania thing. So I just did my Adam Sandler Jewish grandma thing. And, for the blah, blah, blah. And I booked 56 trailers off of that. And they were like, yeah, we really want to sign you. I'm like, well, I mean, anyway, so, and she got me my my agent now that I'm with now, and they've got me in games and animation and a bunch of really cool. I mean, I got fingers in a whole bunch of different pots. I'm one of those guys that just works myself as hard as I can, because I know I learned very quickly the hard way, the nature of this business can just chew you up and spit you back out if you don't constantly, if you sit on your hands for any length of time, you're boned, bro. You'll get forgotten so quick because there's another 50 guys just waiting to replace you.
Yeah, I learned that quick. It's very my old drummer used to say it's a very fast food industry.
Yeah, because this is a visualization of what an audition's like. Take a raw chicken. Remember those Survivor Man versus Wild? Raw chicken on a rope, right? Dropping it down to piranha waters and then pulling it back out again. That's what an audition is like in front of voice actors. So they just rip each other apart to get these jobs. And I know that if you don't hustle and grind, you won't have a job. So if I'm not working on voiceover, which is my primary career, I'm out making content. I'm doing something to get myself out there, because the job that I may not know where the job's going to come from. The job may be waiting for me to find it, or it may be waiting to discover me, because everybody feels like when they come across me organically from a post or from, an app or whatever, they kind of feel like they're part of the magic of my career. Like, oh, I helped discover him. So everybody that finds me through some medium, like, oh, dude, you're really good at this. And so I'm getting a lot of this lately because I never really posted a lot. I mean, I've been posting impression videos since 2007 when I joined YouTube, and all of a sudden people are paying attention. Like after I've been a professional sound-alike for 12 years, I throw a couple of crappy posts up on TikTok and Instagram, and now everybody's like, "Holy crap! I thought you were only good to do movie trailer voices."
No. See,
that's like, no, that's called typecasting.
Well, your voice is iconic. And it's weird that people never like reached out and went like, what else does he do? Like, it's just like the
Usually
voice.
They don't. It's just automatic. We live in a remix culture, man. It's just you're repackaging the same stuff over and over again, and people have this Dragon Ball Z mentality. Every episode's the exact same thing, and it takes a whole season to tell one episode, and they just want the same cookie cutter stuff over and over and over again. And then when you find a formula that works, it's great. I mean, Annoying Orange is still out there going strong, man. So when you find a working formula, that's awesome. You can still make a ton of money from it. But I throw myself up there one time, and all of a sudden people's minds are like, holy crap, I can't believe that's the same guy. I was like, well, maybe you should have looked.
I'm glad. What better time than now? Because you say that the content keeps flowing, and I mean, I did all this research and checked out what you've been up to, and I was just blown away.
Most people are completely just flabbergasted. When they look at me on IMDb, some of these people are like, oh, fake, well, it's not even your audio.
Well, we did know. Yeah, we did know of you in Honest Trailers, though. So we
that's
were
what everybody knows me for. So everybody just thinks that all I do is go around saying boobs, and that's my job. That's it. And they all think that I make the Honest Trailers, and they all think that I write them, produce them, edit them. It never dawned on anybody that this is a voiceover job like all the other jobs that I do, and I was doing this long before that even came along. In fact, a lot of people's like, hey, you should do like real movie trailers or something, or you should maybe be like a voice actor. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should go back in time and do. Oh wait, I'm already doing it now. And I'm like, I've done over 500 real trailers. They're still out there. I was just talking to Frank Aliendo about how all about social networking and how a bump off somebody big like Ryan Reynolds, for example, could be something. It could be way bigger for me because I'm lower on the pole, so whatever. And I was telling him about a missed opportunity. I booked the Hitman's Bodyguard trailer, and Ryan like tagged all these videos on all his social medias, dude, millions and millions of people that could have been following me. But instead of using @EpicVoiceGuy, he used #EpicVoiceGuy. And it was so close.
Well, I did.
He did know who I was, and he did use the hashtag, which was still cool, and I did get a little bump from it. But it's just right place, right time. All of a sudden, technology caught up to me, and I'm like, holy crap, I can deepfake this, and people won't judge me based on the thumbnail of this ugly, fat, bald, middle-aged white guy. They're gonna see a picture of Ryan Reynolds or something, and all of a sudden, it changes everything. In fact, a lot of people are like, is that really him? Is that really Ryan? Is that really Robert De Niro? Or is that really so and so? So yeah, technology has finally caught up to my comedic mind, so where I can make content that I really like to make.
Hey man, you're really good at it. The one that caught me was your Ryan Reynolds. I was blown away, and you're I swear the vodka.
They should have worn their brown pants, but they were not prepared. His face, like as soon as I did it, his head like, what? Where was that from?
I cannot even. That's amazing, John. Wow.
Look at me.
I don't know that these voices can come out of my face hole.
That's amazing. Can we just pay you to come by every week?
That'll be $10,000. Cocaine and unicorns.
Right? I love man. John, that's so good.
I have to ask, is that a ghost or is that Samurai Jack? Because if that's a Samurai Jack back there, that's stinking awesome. It's just a ghost.
As much as I would love to claim that Samurai Jack, because I'm a huge Samurai Jack fan, that is a ghost.
I just started the game. It's really, really fun.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Samurai Jack.
Long ago in a distant land.
It's good. Just bring my childhood back, man. I
would love to audition for that. I would have loved it. I think my sound like for Raku is pretty dang good.
So what's your favorite voice to do? Do you have one? You could ask.
My favorite voice. He's not even. The funny thing is, he's not my favorite character in Transformers, but he is my favorite voice. And that was the seed that was kind of like made me want to do this in the first place, because I didn't hear him in Transformers first. I actually heard Peter Cullen in Voltron first. If for you old school fans, the original Voltron had talking in the intro, and it wasn't as bad as it is now, where when a TV's on, instantly minds are just like in Batman Forever. But when I was a kid, TV played on the background. I wasn't super paying attention to stuff. I was still playing with toys or whatever. But that came on, and I heard that Voltron, Defender of the Universe, and I was like, holy crap! I didn't even know what I meant by this, but I was like, I want to be that one day. I just want to be that cool voice that people go, what was that? And had that same reaction that you guys did when I did it for you, because that voice just like turned my head around. It's freaking awesome. But Shockwave's actually always been my favorite character, because he's handy capable. He's got one eye, one arm, and in the comics he took out Megatron and all of the Autobots and took Optimus Prime's head off. So Shockwave's awesome. And the fact that I got to voice him in Bumblebee, that's way up there in my list of awesomeness. And that's like one of the.
Yeah. Did you so you were a fan of the Transformer films?
I've been a Transformers fan for I had told Travis Knight this. I didn't know when I was working on the movie that it was Travis Knight until after I was done. Because what George Lucas looks like, like Shyamalan. Some of these guys I would have recognized, but I don't know what Travis Knight looked like. I'd only known Kubo and the Two Strings, and then after my 4th session over there, I looked him up, and I was like, that's the guy in the booth. Usually it's just booth guy, for whoever. And I was like, I was talking to the director this whole time. And like, I actually wasn't supposed to audition for him. It was up to me and Steve Bloom. Were there at the same time. For those of you who don't know, Steve is Spike in Cowboy Bebop. Bang. And he's tons of other stuff, and he's worked on Transformers for years. Wow. So she comes in with the list. It's like, we just need to know all the ones that you've booked before. And I'm like, crap, I haven't booked but one of these, and it's the voice that I'm filling in for and not going to be in the movie is Optimus. So he was like, did it, not did it. And so it's only 2 or 3 left over for me. I'm like, crap, dude. So I just nutted up, bro. I was just like, hey, would you mind if I tried out some of these other voices? Because I've been doing Transformers voices for like 35 years. I'm pretty dang good at some of these. And so he's like, yeah, you want to try a few? And he was like, John, you're blowing my mind. You sound like the old cartoon. It's so freaking cool. Yeah. And we like nerded out over how Shockwave. I was like, I'm surprised you guys didn't get David Warner. He's like, why David Warner? I said, David Warner Sark from Tron. That was who Corey Burton was doing an impression of when he came up with Shockwave's voice in the first place. It would be so cool to hear his voice in it. So I wasn't even I was telling him other people to hire instead of myself, and I ended up getting the job.
That's so amazing, man. And you do it every time you make that voice, it throws me off that it's coming out of your face. Because I hear the voice.
It's weird how it's all connected too. I worked on an episode of The Goldbergs, which is my wife and I we all love that show, because it's just, I was raised as an 80s kid. And so I did the Die Hard episode, of all episodes to do, the Die Hard episode. And then I got to chance to I met Adam Goldberg, the real Adam Goldberg, online. He's like, you want to come see my office? I got a whole bunch of cool stuff. So he has an original Slimer, an actual Slimer from the movie, one of the 3 that they made. He's got one of he's got his collection's mind blowing. And since I knew who I was going to meet, and I knew I was going to be there, I brought him a little gift. I brought him Red Bumblebee, in the hopes that he didn't have it already. And out of all the ones I could have picked, it was the only mini-con that he did not have yet. He was the only one. And and the press at Paramount's press gave me a VHS copy of Bumblebee. Only 100 of them were made, only for press members. And he's like, dude, you got Bumblebee on VHS? And I'm like, I said, of all the people I know, I had to get. I mean, dude, you still have your VCR from the 80s, from the opening of the Goldbergs, actually sitting in his office. I said, how could I not give you the VHS copy of this movie? You needed it. He's like, man, I was gonna have to go on eBay and try to find one. He's like, you saved me so much trouble. And then he and I got to talking, and now he told me that he was actually at the round table when they were coming up with Bumblebee movie. He almost was the writer for the film. And it's like so weird how all the stuff that I work on ends up like, oh yeah, you work with so-and-so? Oh, that works with so-and-so, and I was there for this and that. And it's like my mind, I was like, dude, can you just like imagine us now talking to ourselves when we were 8 about where we're gonna be? we would not have believed ourselves. We would have been like, you're freaking full of crap.
And just what a career that you have too, doing voices and stuff. I love voices. I've been doing so much fun, man. I mean, it can. Don't get me wrong. It can have its downside, but I mean, just 95% of the time, it's awesome. I love it, dude. I love doing SpongeBob.
I mean, he's also doing SpongeBob.
There's just so many. I noticed that you're wearing a Pinky in the Brain shirt too. That's pretty like that.
Same shirt we wear every night, Pinky.
Oh, I love it.
This is retro right here. I got this hat from Six Flags. No, from the Warner Brothers store back when they were still open in the 90s. I got quite a few, and I actually got a decent collection of stuff. And some of it got pretty banged up in storage, and I had it redone. Like I had some watches, some really nice, cool watches, like not cheap crap. And the next time I knew I was going to be hanging out with Rob and Mo, I was like, I got you guys a surprise. And they're like, holy crap, where did you get this stuff? I was like, well, I had to spruce it up a little, but these actually came from, told them the whole Warner Brothers store story. And they're like, dude, and I was like, you donate it to charity or do an auction for it, whatever you want to do with it, it's yours. I figured you guys would appreciate it more than I would. And Marisa Marsh was like, I'm keeping it. This is for me.
Yeah, dude. Skinny here runs it's called
Skinny
Ghouls of the
Pete?
Strip.
Where's Skinny Pete, yo? Skinny, are you slinging that blue, yo? What up?
Skinny with the Rocco hat. With his Rocco hat. He's spunky. He has he does
I know Rocco. We did comedy together. It's quite funny, that guy.
wow.
You'd never know that that's the same guy that goes, Yo quiero Taco Bell. Yeah,
Wait, the guy-
Carlos Alazraqui, mind-blowing moment. He's Mr. Crocker.
He's Rocco, and he's the Chihuahua dog for Taco Bell.
And he's also the white-headed officer in Reno 911.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Those connections. You're just
He's a really good stand for a voice actor. I always have to say this. For a voice actor, he's really awesome at stand-up. There's not a lot of voice actors that are really awesome at stand-up. There's either ones that are pretty good or really good, and then there's ones that are not good at all. There's a lot of good stand-up comedians that are not voice actors that have done voiceover work, but not the other way around. I don't know which one he started in first, but his stuff's really good. If you ever get a chance to go see it.
I feel like you would do stand up pretty well. You got a lot of energy.
I did stand up last night, actually. It was the last second booking, but yeah, I've been doing stand up for 2 years now, I guess.
Wow, congrats.
Not that many. I got baptized by fire, bro. They have this thing at Flappers where you can sign up for classes. Like, it's basically open mic night with no crowd. So you get a couple of professionals to listen to whatever you do, and then they give you feedback and tell you what you could do and if you want to try it again, whatever. So I signed up for the little stupid card like a moron, and they're like, "Oh, hey, can you come such and such?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I'm hanging back with these other people. I'm like, "Oh, you guys are all going?" I had no idea. These are all professionals. I thought they were trying it out too. I'm like, "Oh, you guys are going to?" "Oh, okay, cool." I'm just thinking, I'm get this over with. Throw out some stupid jokes, so people can tell me I'm lame, and people will stop asking me to go. I should go do stand up because I get it all the time, just like you just said. And I walk in the room and there's 70 people in there, dude. I was going up for real with no practice, never having done it before in my life.
Right.
I literally, my legs got weak, and I'm glad that Flappers has a place to sit down on every single stage. So I invented sit down comedy, which is common now because that's how all shows are being done. They're all virtual. I was the first to do it, so I'm a hipster now, apparently.
Nice.
I was doing it before it was cool.
That's so good. Right on, man. So it's going good. That's amazing. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
I mean it's interesting. I wouldn't quit. I wouldn't quit my day job, but and it
no.
certainly doesn't pay the bills at all. But it's I felt. I mean, if you look at some of the best, they all did stand up. Tom Kenny did stand up. Lorenzo Music stand up. There's a lot of guys. I forget his name. The guy Wheeljack Cobra Commander. He did stand up. A lot of stand-up comedians end up being these amazing voice actors on that elite group that that get in all the cartoons and all the and that's where you want to be if you want to get any residuals ever. So I just figured I would go out there and try it. And I don't really do memorize. I do what a lot of comedians' biggest nightmare is. I go up with no notes. I go up there with no memorized jokes, no set list. I go up there cold turkey with a few things in mind, just some bullet points, and then I segue in between with improv. And then I sink or swim. And last night I sank a little bit. I didn't totally tank, but we had an issue with we have an autistic kid, and we had an issue like 5 minutes before the show, dude. Not a great way. I had to go from my heart and panic attack mode to making people laugh. That was a rough transition. But I got a few laughs out of it.
That's good.
Yeah, it was all right. It was okay.
I've done stand up like 2 or 3 times, and talking about my Tourette's is like the only thing that people want to laugh about. I try to talk about like personal.
People always
stuff.
want to laugh at our tragedies, man. I'm surprised I didn't know. Yeah, my wife's got such and such, and my son's such and such. No, I try not to be the kind. I try to be rated E for everyone. It's something that I can do where I can turn it down if I have to, if it's kind of that crappy kind of crowd that just wants all stupid jokes, or I can turn it up for the people that are, want actually funny stuff. But I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, I'm a stand-up comedian that does a bunch of voices. I don't. They either happen or they don't. I never know what's going to happen. I have a couple of planned ones, but when I go in, I don't go, and here's such and such doing so and so, and here's so and so having sex. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not going to just be the guy who does funny voices, because that's not funny. That's not comedy. You can either can be funny and make people laugh without having to, because for me that's almost a crutch, because I know that would slay, but it wouldn't be slaying for the right reason. It'd be slaying because, oh, that was cool, not because it was actually funny. It was just a cool thing that you heard, and that's it. That's the extent of it. You have to have a build up and a plan, and you have to have a punch. You have to have a journey and a goal, and you have to get there, or nobody's gonna laugh at it. So.
I think that's cool because it does show diversity with you. Like, you're not just taking.
Yeah, I mean, I headlined, dude. I headlined 2 weeks ago. I had to do a full hour. That was terrifying. I was like, I don't even know if I have enough material for an hour. I managed, dude. I managed to blow through that thing, and freaking, I did probably one of my better times, to be honest. It was actually really well. I actually made some money too. $30 whole, guys. I'm going to Chili's.
Ka-ching, man.
I'm getting those chicken crispers original with the honey mustard, bro. White on the pepper on that corn. Swap out those fries for the loaded mashed potatoes, dude.
Damn straight.
$30, dude. That's a gift card, son. I can retire now.
It's so good. I'm glad you got to eat a luxurious dinner.
I did my last meal before I went starved to death from comedy, suffering from my heart. It's sad that total out of 7 shows over a span of 2 years, I've made $67 still doing comedy.
Hey, I know.
I'm gonna start on my new job tonight.
That's good though. At least you're having fun, because
it's experience, and honestly, here's the big thing from a voice actor's perspective. This is what I did not expect to happen when I went up and did stand up, and the way I just described it to you, cold turkey, just bullet points, kind of no notes, whatever. When I get an audition or have to go and do a session and I'm up next to some of the biggest people there are in this business, dude, it's like that movie, The Rookie, where these high school kids are batting against a professional pitcher speeds, and they didn't know it because they didn't have a scan gun. And then when they go up against kids their own age, it's like easy. It's like going from the fastball cages to the slow softball cages. And my job is a cinch after doing some stand up. Dude, I'm not terrified of anything anymore after that, because that's the worst thing you can get.
That is intense, and I feel like everyone's a critic out there, Like
everybody's like really ready to judge how not funny you were, but they would never set foot on stage and try to be funny themselves.
Right, absolutely.
And it's more than just being funny too. You can't do that. And I try to tell people, I was like, oh man, you're funny. You should do stand. That's a difference between being funny and making people laugh. You're giving a very particular set of rules. You have to make this person laugh, who paid to be there to make them laugh. And when they're sitting there like this with a scowl on your face, and you've got to figure out, how do I get that person from that point that they are now to that was funny? And that's not an easy journey. You kind of have to hold them by the hand and slowly introduce who you are, be human. You have to have some little fun, some smiles, and get them warmed up for. I mean, it's a lot of effort and thought goes into it. It's manipulation. You're manipulating them to go from whatever mood they were in to being happy and laughing and forgetting about the crap that was making them feel bad in the first place. So it's all about working people, It's just hard to do when you're doing stand-up in a real stage, because the lights are right in your freaking eyes, and they're like, look for the red light. I was like, I can't see anymore now. I'm freaking blind. I'm up here like Daredevil doing stand-up at this point. So I need to make a sound when the red light goes off so I can hear it.
What's some of the do you have any voice actors in your group that you know as well?
Right here? No. I mean,
no.
I think Corey Walgren's in my pocket somewhere.
Next to Tom.
Like people that I've worked with, friends, like what?
Friends, like people that you work with.
Oh yeah, dude. The people that I know now that I could text and would text me back, like. No, I don't even believe it's really happening. It's got to be the Matrix, bro. There's no way this is real.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't just text Tom Kenny and say, "Hey, what's up?" and he'd be like, "Hi, John, how are you?" That's my life. I could do that, and I don't, because I don't abuse the contacts and the friendships and the relationships that I've made, because it takes a lot of years of networking to get to that point where I walk into. I don't often go to in-person auditions. This is back before quarantine happened, but there's a place where if you're in a rut and you're stuck and you're outside of booth area, you're not home, and traffic's there's a place over in Burbank that you can just swing by, pay them like $10, they record you, edit the thing, send it off for you, done, so you don't miss your audition. And I walk in and Tom Kenny's sitting there, he's like, "Oh, hi, John." He's first name basis with me, dude, and I'm over there, "Hi, Kevin, I'm your biggest fan." And it's like I have to be in my head, that's how I am, but in person I'm like, "Oh, hey, Tom, what's up?" And I have to be that. I have to act even when I'm not acting. When I'm not even auditioning, I have to pretend like everything's cool. When inner me is like, SpongeBob! That's Starscream! That's the Ice King!
What I love about you, John, is how, because you said you started in 2010. You're so genuine.
I started professionally in 2008.
Okay.
But 2010 is when I started doing trailers.
Even better.
Before that, I used to do commercials and stuff.
And you're so genuine. I love that about you, and how you're saying, like, you're still kind of putting yourself
over. The guy doing the job. I mean, that's a lot of people look at it like it's this freaking holy grail or something, Well,
so I've been in the entertainment scene for 15 years in music, and I started doing film 5 years ago. And when you start, what's that?
Music's rougher than what I do, man. I'm sorry.
It's tough. Just last year, started talking to people that I idolize, and it's such a great feeling when they talk to you on a first term basis, and keeping yourself a level and being chill the whole time is like,
you can't let yourself go, because I feel like once you go there, there is no going back. Everybody that I've seen that have let their ego swell up, they become inhuman and they start acting like they are just a different creature, a different species of. Like, I'm not allowed to be seen with you. And there's also people that are in between that group that it's all of here, everything's cool, but back there, it's, they're just trying to take advantage or get whatever they can out of you because they know that you're, right now you're hot, but tomorrow, who knows? So it's flavor of the week stuff. And those are all prodigal son friends. You know what I mean? Like, while he had the money, he's all spending money on all his buddies, took off from home, left dad back with the pigs and whatever. And then once the money's gone, friends gone too. That's that, like, when you're in that level, like right now, my TikTok's blowing up everywhere. Instagram started going up. So right now I'm on people's minds all of a sudden. But there's no way, whether that will last or not. And you can't let yourself think, wow, I made that mistake one time. I made the mistake of like, what if it's like this every day, man? What if I'm making like 10 grand a week? Once you go there, it's you're sucker punched 5 seconds later, and all the wind's completely knocked out of you, and then you're broke, and then you're begging for jobs because nothing's coming in, and you just never know. You can't let yourself believe that. You just have to work hard, stay at it, stay motivated, keep going, even when there's nothing. Even like this week, they like, hey, we want to put you on hold. This, big deal. I'm not going to say which restaurant it was. Big deal. And they're like, we're going to need you to hold this day and this day. Like, a whole bunch of days. I had to put my whole life on hold for this one job, only to wait for 4 or 5 days for them to say, oh, hey, they went with another voice actor. You're just, my job is constant. And you know what I'm talking about. And being in the music industry, job is constant rejection, dude. Constant rejection. It's not just this thing that you just do one day like people think. They just think that, oh, I can just hop on the internet, get a microphone and a computer, hop on the internet, do an audition, and I'm going to be working with Tara Strong for Warner Brothers tomorrow. It just doesn't happen that way. A minimum of 10 years has to go into it, dude. I broke a few rules. Like, I booked my first animated thing. It wasn't a full-blown, network series, but I booked my first animated things in like 7 or 8 years instead of 10. But it's still like, I didn't book my first real cartoon until this year, 12 years later. So...
Wow.
You know what I mean? You just never know it. I worked for World of Warcraft recently, and this goes a little further back, but anyway, the time doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
But it's been so I'd gotten this job and I didn't remember auditioning for it, so I'd asked my agent about it. She's like, I don't know. So I had to drive all the way to Irvine. That's where Blizzard is. Didn't know that was all the way down to Comic-Con on zero gas, but I cruised in on fumes, got there on time. And I was buckling up because they told me it was going to be a 4-hour session. There was no scripts. They didn't send me anything but the species. How's that going to help me, guys? They're made up species. They're not real species. They're Warcraft species. I don't know what Warcraft species sound like. I'm supposed to come up with that. So I get there and they're like, did they tell you what's going on? I was like, not really. It's like, oh, we're just doing creature voice. I'm like, crap, I'm going to be blown. And it was like early in the week. I was afraid I was going to blow my voice out. It was booked for a 4-hour session in Irvine. That's 3.5 hours away, 4 hours of work, and then 3.5 hours back through some of the worst traffic of the day. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, geez, this is going to be a nightmare. I get in there and I'm done in like 20 minutes. Knocked both characters out in 20 minutes. They're like, dude, we're so getting out of here. I got home early, like way stinking early. And then the casting director for all of Blizzard comes. She's like, John. She gives me this big hug, and I couldn't quite even remember how she knew me, but she was like so friendly. I'm like, oh yeah, best friends. And she's like, did they tell you how they got this job? And I'm like, no, nobody has told me where this came from. They said, well, apparently you sent us a recording for something in 2011. This was only 2 years ago. They had kept something on file for 7 years. And just booked me then. So you never know when something's going to end up booking you a job, even from that long ago, man. I was blown away. I don't even think I had an agent at the time. I don't remember auditioning for it. That's insane. But they liked something that they heard, and they kept it on. They said, yeah, we got a giant Rolodex, file data bank deal of things that we think's cool, and then we'll cycle through and say, oh, we haven't, this is something. And then they recognize my name, social media, networking, branding, all that stuff, kind of like, oh, there's a guy we recognize we didn't know 7 years ago. So you just never know, man. You really don't.
I love that about you. And that's what I was saying. I getting to know you here with us hanging out. You're just very genuine. And I think that's one of the coolest things about you. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass, dude. Like, you're just very genuine. And like the fact that you've been doing it for so long, I mean, in my opinion, that's like
I know personally, this whole thing doesn't have anything to do with me. This is all God's doing. I'm just going where he leads. And I mean, he blessed me with a talent, and I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to be a blessing to other people. I don't try to like, oh, I'll help you out if you help me. I mean, if that happens, that's great. I don't ask for stuff in return. If I see a need, I help. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. If everybody would do that, the whole freaking world would be a better place. So
right?
I can't, if you keep that mentality of a servant's heart and always trying to help other people, you end up getting more blessings out of that. You know what I mean? And the other people get helped as well. And all of a sudden you build this reputation of like, John legitimately just likes to help people. He's not trying to screw you over, Los Angeles, and that's the kind of the mentality of LA. People have been just bitten and beat and kicked and punched and to death, and they just like, who are you? What is wrong with, what do you want? That's their instant thing. You can't do nothing nice for nobody out here. Nothing. Okay? You try to do something nice for someone, they say no. They say, I don't want your help. I don't need your stinking help. Okay?
It's so good. Skinny, you had a question. Sorry, man.
Man. So I gotta ask, have you ever got the opportunity to work alongside Frank Welker?
Not directly, no. But we've worked on the same things where I've seen his name, because his name shows up in everything. So if any voice actor that's worked on anything that's AAA or higher has probably worked on the same project as Frank has at some point. I didn't get to meet him though, which was very cool. He's a really nice.
Awesome.
Poor guy got really. It was a crapshoot. This is just a super quick story. This was back when this is Transformers convention, and they booked a cheap motel because a different convention had canceled. But they had all this flood damage, and they didn't replace the carpets, and all this mildew had set in. And as soon as Frank had got there, he got sick like that, and he was sick for the whole thing. I mean, he was all these cute, sweet little kids asking him to do Curious George, and he was just like, and that's what he came there for, to do voices for people and meet fans. And I felt horrible for him, man. I was like, man, they should have like, no, you're not doing this hotel.
That's so sad.
It's so bad. He said the coolest thing ever, dude. He was, because I was told, like, oh, we actually had the same agent. He's like, okay, well, he said, I'll see you at work. And I was like, that's the coolest thing. He's gonna see me at work.
That's great, man. Well, all these voices. I mean, the three of us here in Deadman Radio are huge cartoon fans, and even Optimus Prime and stuff. We had the blessing of having Richard Horvitz on the show.
I like Richard. He's a fun guy.
Yeah. So
you never know that he sounds like this all the time, would you? That's his natural voice, everybody.
And it stunned us because before we had him on the show, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to ask him definitely, like, can you do a voice for us on the end? And he like went into it, and as we're talking, I'm like, what? So your voice is always like that? And he's like,
yeah, it really is.
I was like, I just had to talk to him.
It still blows. I'll meet people, and not voice actors, just people, regular people, just their voices in my own neighborhood. Has anybody here seen Superstore before?
Yeah,
familiar with it. So the boss is the guy from Kids in the Hall back in the day. And he's doing this really weird voice, and it kind of grated on my nerves at first because it's like a really bad Kermit almost. And I was like, who talks like that? That's the stupidest thing. I was walking my neighborhood, and I ran across this guy and his dog. This is not an exaggeration of any. I don't do bad. I do bad impressions. It's on purpose. This is not an exaggeration. He's like, I don't know. What are you? He talked just. I'm like, is he for real right now? Is that his real voice? What is happening? He's like, well, it's good to see you, neighbor. I hope I see you around the neighborhood. And it was like the Dana Carvey movie where I was like, what are you? I wanted so bad to do it right back to him. I almost couldn't help myself. I was like, okay, see you later. See you at the store.
People like that are like what inspires. So like I write stories and like I feel like animations. Like one day after all the people I met, because I met a guy that was a big fan of our music, and he talked just like Hulk Hogan. He'd be like, "Oh, I love you guys, brother. Oh, you're
crazy." I know exactly who you're talking about.
It's so funny too. And most of the time, they don't even know. They don't even know they sound like somebody. I know a guy who sounds just like Jason Bateman, and then when I tell him that, he does a Jason Bateman impression, and it doesn't sound like Jason Bateman anymore. But his no natural voice sounds like Jason Bateman. He's like, well, and I'm just like, holy crap, dude, you sound just like him. Like, that's a hard one to do. Most normal voices are the really hard ones. I get some crazy auditions. I'm like, oh, good grief. Like, this is not possible. Every once in a while, I'll crack the code, but I think it's because of pressure. Like, they don't give me a lot of time. My manager calls it the golden chain. They give you like no time to prep. You don't have like a day or a week to perfect a voice. You have like 15 minutes to an hour to come up with this thing, or they're not even going to submit you. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So a couple times I cracked the code. I had one, they sent me an audition for Jeff Bridges, and I was like, holy smokes, how in the I'd never heard anybody do one before. I was like, I don't even know where to start. So I invented this thing, at least for me at the time it was. I've heard since then a couple other voice actors that have done this. There are people that do impressions have done this. But it's called revoice engineering, reverse revoice. You see what I did there?
Okay.
So I'll take a voice that I know I can do, and so I find the closest thing to the voice that I'm listening to for the audition that I know that I can do already. So I like listened really close, and he was for a long time. You remember Jeff Bridges just did that cowboy thing for like 7 movies in a row. Like I don't know what happened after True Grit. He just decided never to quit doing that character. So that was the audition I got, and I was like, you know what it sounds like? And I've told Frank this story before. I was like, sounds like Frank Caliendo doing John Madden. So I started there. So I started with John Madden, basically plays the hardware, and then I just kind of gave it a little bit of True Grit and the Seventh Son. I booked 3 or 4 movies doing Jeff Bridges because of what I just came from there. It came off of something else. And they were like, "Holy crap, that's!" And then when my manager introduced me to my agency for the first time, I was honestly, I'm not a good liar. I can't. Same. I mean, the truth's in you. You can't really lie to folks very well. My face turns red. So I have to be honest all the time because people will know. So, which just puts me in a bad shape. We're like, what do you think of my Smeagol voice? I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this is in text or else I would have to lie to you and you would know. So she says, oh, and John does the best Jeff Bridges in the country. That's kind of high. Don't you think? That's a little lofty. I was like, I don't know who else does it, but I know it's not the best in the country, most likely. But I'm just like, I was so glad that they're like, oh, yeah, let's hear it. Because I would have been like, no.
That's so good. And it's interesting that you're right. Because I've always wondered about the world of voice acting. Because it's not like I don't know, like it feels like something you don't just like I don't know if there's a school for it, like you just have a talent.
One does not simply walk into voice acting.
That was cool.
Everybody gets there a different way. There's so many paths.
It's kind of cool.
People have gotten there from music. People have gotten there from radio. People have gotten there from on camera. People have gotten there from Broadway, from stage, from stand up. It's just so many routes, But I mean, they all end up in the same place. A lot of people just don't understand that the pool is big enough for every freaking body. There's so much work, especially now, dude. Now it's all voiceover because they can't get on camera anymore. So our job's more relevant now than ever. I was so happy that I had this thing before quarantine happened. I was already set up for remote working all along. I even told them, I was like, do I really have to be in LA? Proof right now since March that I did not have to move to LA to do this job.
That's cool, though. That's cool.
It is.
And I hope that you're taking care of your voice, too, because I know the
I try to, but, man, sometimes I'll get a video game session on a Monday or Tuesday, and they're just like, well, I guess I'm just doing Tom Waits for the rest of the week, Like, his voice is just gone.
My God.
Nice.
I bet you have the funnest time on fucking video games, dude. Dude.
I tried to get something going and nobody seemed to want to watch. I think, like I said, the deepfakes lure people in because I look like a celebrity, but then they see what the real me looks like. They don't want, so when I was on Twitch, I guess they just didn't want to see all this. But if they'd stayed to listen, they probably would have enjoyed themselves. Because I do celebrities playing video games. I like to do my own characters playing their own games. When I play XCOM Commander, I have to do this. Because
I think, look, I'm not here to tell you how amazing, like what your job is, John, but I feel like there's a way to revisit that. Like I would talk to your peeps.
Maybe now, maybe I just wasn't recognizable enough for people to care or whatever. I don't know. For some reason, once you get to a certain level of fame, even though you can't deposit fame and pay the rent with it, you get to a certain level, people just give you stuff or they promote you. You're like, oh crap, here's free things. I don't know why that is. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. But, I guess it's because they think I guess the same reason why A-list celebrities have people like Tesla, like, hey, we'll just let you drive this car around. You don't have to pay us anything. We just want people to see you driving this car. And for them, it's a free car, but they're not keeping it. It's publicity for them. Ryan Reynolds drives whatever, so.
Here you go, Tom Cruise.
I'm still at, Matchbox. I'm the Micro Machines level. Like I'm driving around the little tiny,
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, you can watch Boomerang right now, folks, because you're never going to guess who the new voice of the Micro Machine Man is, because it's this guy. That's right.
What? Really?
It's the first place I've gotten to talk about it, too. It just came out today, and my friend was like, is this you? And I'm like, it's out, yes, we know each other.
Oh my God, John, that's badass. You heard it on Deadman Radio.
That was a rough one, dude. I was terrified. I don't do that legal speak talk really well, the really fast talking. But once we broke it down line by it was just a lot of alliterator stuff, Sister Susie sells seashells, that kind of stuff, but at breakneck speeds. And I'm not John Machida Jr. So I was even, in fact, I think I recall actually auditioning for it as a joke almost, because I thought there was no chance I was gonna get it. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna freaking do this really bad and just send. I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try. I poop. I crap gold.
We just had a little blowout of people that got excited about your Tom Waits voice. We just got some.
I'm not even sure if that was Tom Waits' voice or not. I vaguely remember him sounding like this.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the gun. I only know the sound it makes when it takes a man's life. That's pretty much the same voice. But
that's so good.
I found with every single person on this planet, there's always that one voice that I do. It's somewhere in there. I just have to get around to it. For some people, believe it or not, it's Larry the Cable Guy. For some people, it's Ryan Reynolds. Some people, it's Optimus Prime. I never know what voice is going to make this, going to float their boat, but I'll do one. And all of a sudden, people are just like, what the freak just happened? That was what?
You're Ryan Reynolds and you're Robert De Niro. Your Robert De Niro is.
It's not that strong. It's not a really good sound alike. It's a decent impression. But with the deep fake, because I've got the mannerisms down, looks really good. It really does. That's right. That all started from one of my bits in my stand-up. I'll do it real quick for you if we got time for it. But
so we have as much time as you have, John.
Oh, cool. So cool. All right. So a long time ago, I go into this thing saying even my kids do impressions, and they just don't know that they're doing impressions. So when my son was 5. You know how that sound when somebody hits the tub, like bonk, you just know something's gonna, one kid's gonna come in wet and soapy with something, because you just hear that Kong, because what porcelain sounds like when somebody thumps against it. So here comes my son. He's got soap down in his eyes, so he's squinting like this, and he's got his face like this, and he's got a wet towel around his mouth. Hey, Dad, I got soap in my pee-pee. That's right. Things when I tinkle. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Burns a little bit, just a little bit, and then I always end the joke with Tyler does it better, and then if Tyler does it better, always makes everybody laugh. Oh, so it started as that, and then when they added him on the deepfake, I was like, you know what? It's an okay impression, because at my level, I hold myself to the highest. I find the person who does the voice the best, even if it's that person, the actual person, and I try to aim for that, because I feel like you have to over aim in order to be the best at that voice and to get that job. So when I do voices like that, I don't do them unless there's a funny, legitimate reason to use it. It may not be for work, but I figure I'll get something else out of it. And when they added the face on there, I'm like, you know what? It's a decent enough impression. If I had the face on, people are gonna and that one video I freaking did. You know the trend of the one day after watching such and such, 1 week after watching such and such, 1 year.
Yeah.
So I started doing these, but doing impression versions. Like 1 day after watching Robert De Niro, 2 days, 2 days after watching Robert, and then the third one I do the full outfit, the suit, the hair. I'm like, 1 year. 1 year after watching Bobby De Niro, and people in Russia for some reason, millions of people in Russia loved it. I don't know if he's still #1 A-list actor over there or something. Maybe they're just really behind on television. I don't know. But all those guys that are rigging the election, they really like me. So I guess I'm cool either way.
My favorite skit you had, other than the Just Friends Ryan Reynolds, was your Gears of War with like.
Yeah, all the different actors. Because they added Bruce Willis, and I was like, Bruce Willis would make a really cool Marcus Phoenix. But here's how I have to think about it. If I'm going to go through the trouble of putting all this crap on me, I'm going to do as many impressions while I got the outfit on as possible so I can get as much content as I can. So I go through the list. The Impressions app has a list of about 30, 40, 50 people. And I can't do all the voices on there. There's a lot of females, there's a lot of sports people. So there's ones that I just know I can't do unless it's just legitimately to try to be funny and not do an impressions thing. But when I put the outfit on, I just like I start off with one thing in mind. I'm like, well, while I'm here, why not Johnny Depp as or so and so else or who else, and it'll go from that, and then I'll just kind of intercut the best pieces together and throw it out there and see what happens. And yeah, they end up turning out pretty good. But it's not perfect technology yet. I don't know why, but some of the faces, the eye goes wonky. Have you seen a few? Yeah. Like the one eye will just start going, it's a whole nother direction. And sometimes it's so stupid funny, I just leave it in because I'm like, screw it, I don't care. It's made to make people laugh anyway. So with the Wolverine thing, I was like, people are gonna crucify me for the Wolverine one because the very first video is Jean-Claude Van Damme and his eye goes woo, but it was funny, so I just left it in there and just kept going. So and it ended up being really well received. People really loved the Wolverine.
That was a good one.
For Wolverine.
And I love your Hemsworth because I started.
The trick to Hemsworth is just smiling very big and squinting your eyes. That's all the time is this. Yes, of course. The captain, of course.
So, Saren, if you're wondering, John's the reason why I've been doing that for like a month.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Dude, every day we hang out, he's doing his Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. So I do this weird one where I go, yes, I'm Hemsworth from Asgard, and I go, I'd like to have some ice cream. and he's just like, what? And I'm like, I'd like to have some ice cream.
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road.
Road, please. Yes.
Oh, shit.
Because I love Rocky Road. That's why I have another gallon, baby. Have another triple scoop with me, Logie.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
Oh, Weird Al joke, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are over the age of 20.
Oh man, so good.
But see, I think that's what sets me apart from a lot of people, because there's some guys out there that are way better than me, but their improv skills maybe aren't as good, or maybe they just don't know how to be a stand-up comedian, or they don't know funny, or I don't know what it is, but you can just kind of tell, like, yeah, they do the voice, but they're just doing that one line from that one movie that one time. Like, you want to know how I got these scars? Just over and over and over again. And I'm like, yay, but I want to see something good with it. If you got the talent for it, make something cool with it, man. Get out there and do something.
I love that you mentioned that it's a lot's in the face too, because one of my favorites also is Patrick Warburton. And he's like, hey.
Oh my God.
And it's the Peter, and he does the face, and it's got the.
Well, he's got two voices. He's got that Peter voice. That's his big cartoony voice, but his real voice. His real voice sounds like this. My name is Lemony Snicket. And see, the one thing I've noticed the difference between what I do normally for a job and what I'm doing for social content is that when I'm doing this, I'm a 1,000% focused on making the voice sound exactly right, because I'm usually filling in for the actor. Whereas when I'm doing this, I'm trying to do the physical movements, the face, improvising the lines, and doing the voice all at the same time. So it slips out of that, perfect sound match thing
and back down into impression level, but it's funny and it's helped grow my brand and stuff. But there's a difference. I always use this as an illustration. When you go to the fair, right? You see the dude that does the caricatures. He gets up and he draws this overly over the top version of whoever it is. They all end up looking like the Megamind when he gets done, like the giant heads and whatever. Yeah. But they don't really look like that. It's just an exaggerated version of them. Sure. That's what an impression is, because impressions kind of started with comedians like, oh, here's Arnold Schwarzenegger doing, and I always use Arnold as an example because everybody does the Arnold like this, over the top. But Arnold's speaking voice is totally different. Yeah. So now this is a voice match right here. You have to do the voice exactly. And then I come in like a ninja and slip in. And then I go do the voice. And nobody even knows. Nobody knows it's me over there. But then you do this version of it. Yeah, it sounds like an over-the-top cartoony kind of thing, So it's like, remember the Tiny Toons had the dog that was like Rob Paulson's version of Arnold, That's an impression, as opposed to sounding exactly like the guy. So there's a difference between my job and that. And it sounds so much better when I record it to me than it does when I'm doing this, because all of a sudden I'm focused on the camera and the movements and the outfit, and make sure there's no hair going in the wrong direction. So somebody says, the hair doesn't look like the character. Because you got the comic book guys over there. This impression sounds nothing like this guy, says the guy who has no followers and no views and no posts.
Yeah.
So, I got a lot of flack for the Chris Evans Dwayne Johnson video, and I thought it was a pretty clever video. I know they're not my strongest voices, but man, the comments were, this sounds nothing. I was like, well, you can tell the guys who paid me to do it that I sound nothing like them, but the fact is that I did get paid to sound like them, so maybe you're wrong. This is an untrained ear. A lot of people think that Keith David, I'll give you an example. Keith, 1,000 years ago, I have to do this one closer. 1,000 years ago, superstition and the sword ruled. It was an age of darkness. It was a time of gargoyles. Now here in Manhattan, the spell is broken and we live again. They think that sounds like Optimus Prime, when there is distinctly a very different sound. They're not the same. They're just two low voices. So when you hear that and you hear my Duke Nukem, you're hearing me in all three voices, but you're hearing three low voices. You don't hear the distinct difference. Like, I'll give you an example, dude. Every time he says something, it's always the same note, always around, always. He has a pattern to his speech. Whereas Keith David, he goes up and down, and he gets that real low, deep thing he does. He's got way bigger range, and he gets big and angry, and so there's two different voices, two different characters, but you're hearing the me in all three of those voices, and you're hearing three low voices. And a tuned ear, like one that's just a little bit like, oh crap, when you listen to that, you can definitely distinctly tell those three voices, but you can tell it's one person doing all three. When the three individual people are doing them separately, of course it sounds much more different, because they're not all voiced by the same dude. That's how it works, man.
That's incredible, and I never thought of it like that. So there's like impressions.
Take some shrooms, you will learn a whole bunch of stuff you didn't know. I'm kidding. I don't do drugs, kid. Don't do drugs.
That's so cool.
Drink your milk. Obey your mama.
Drink your milk. So that's so.
That's cool. Also an old school impression for you kids. Go back and watch Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It's enough to make a grown man cry, but not today.
I'm gonna do Skype to do. That's pretty good. We all nerd.
Time to do disguise to the dude dresses another dude.
We all. I don't know if you noticed, but all of our eyes lit up when you did Duke Nukem, because we all play.
Right, baby. I don't know if you watched my last video, but I got the Duke himself, John St. John, in the end of it. You should go check it out, babe.
I was gonna say babe and dude and came up with booed. I don't think that's a word.
I like it. I'll play it.
Yeah, no. Duke Nukem is my go-to.
Well, I did this one. I tried to do my best ones first. I got a lot of crap for not putting James Earl Jones in there. I know James Earl Jones should be in the top 5 most epic male voices of all time, but I don't do him very well now, do I? Okay, then. So quit giving me crap about it. I made 2 parts. You should be satisfied now. So the first part I did my personal picks for top favorites besides James Earl Jones that I could actually do. I did Keith David, Sam Elliott, Optimus Prime, obviously, and I forget, that was one of the. So anyway, but so I did that one, and then I was like, well, I have to get Johnson. So many people also agreed with me. They were like, dude, John St. John, Duke Nukem. And so I was like, I had to get in there and so I just asked him, because he'd messaged me a long time ago on Facebook. It's like, hey, once you're out in LA before quarantine happened, once you're out in LA, we should actually hang out and talk and see if we can come up with some stuff. So I knew he would be open to ideas. So I just messaged him like, hey, I'm doing this thing on Most of Big Voices. You'd only have to say this one little line. He's like, dude, absolutely. I'll just freaking lay this down real quick. So he threw it in there. And then I found that Kevin Conroy was on Cameo for only $100, guys. I did not know that. That's the same rate I charge. So I paid Kevin Conroy to roast my impression of him in my video. So at the end of the video, I start off with James Earl Jones because I knew everybody would just stop. And now they're giving me crap about why Morgan Freeman's not. It's like part one. Morgan Freeman was already in one.
Oh.
So it starts off with James Earl Jones, and then I can't say his name very well, but Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat, because I think his voice is amazing. Welcome to Mortal Kombat. Your soul is mine. You know, that's just a freaking great voice. And then I went into, from that one, I did Christopher Lee. Obviously, this contest cannot be decided by our knowledge of the voice, but our skills with a lightsaber. So Christopher Lee had to be. And then John St. John, and then he makes an actual cameo. But that's not all. The last one I ended with, he is epic. He is the voice. He is Conroy. And then Kevin Conroy himself shows up on screen going, oh, John, that was terrible. Try it like this. And he actually does it. People's minds, you should have seen their faces. They were like, holy crap, how'd you get John St. John and Kevin Conroy in your video? I was like, you know what? I've been doing so well on social media lately, and so many people have been so supportive in the comments and watching the views and liking and sharing them, network with tons of new people. I was like, I want to make something cool for them to watch. And of course, I love it too, because I freaking love Kevin Conroy. Does have one of the most epic voices of all time. Yeah. So I made it a little bit for me, but mainly just a way to say thank you. And people were just like, holy, because I don't care. It cost $100, made a millions of people happy. It's freaking cool, dude.
You know what, man? There's too much nerdgasms going on over here.
Watch the video. You want to have another one? Because even I did on that video. I was like, oh crap,
and I love that. I love that you're nerding out with us about what you're doing and stuff. Because
you know what a good actor I am? I can walk into Hasbro or Paramount and look like I'm cool about being there. On the inside, I'm exactly the way I am right now. I should get an Oscar for that stuff, man. Yeah. You know how hard it's for a nerd not to nerd out around nerdy stuff? That's impossible, man.
Do you guys, Saren, Skinny, you guys have questions for John before we continue?
Pete.
I have one for later.
He's got one for later. I need something right now.
Okay, so my question right now is, it's my lady's birthday, and she wanted a shout out and
it's your lady's birthday. Well, say hello to your lady for me, because I'm the ladies' man. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, that's the only thing that I've got. I was just gonna ask you if you could do an Optimus Prime shout out for my lady Crystal for her birthday.
My lady Crystal, I hear it is the day of your protoform. My name is Optimus Prime, and I send this message to all birthday holders resting among the stars. We are here. We are celebrating 6 feet apart. Happy birthday.
Wow. Oh, thanks, John. That was really nice of you, man.
That was awesome. Dude, she's like super red right now.
She should have worn her red pants.
So what are you doing right now? So you're the voice. So tell us about what you're doing now, John, because we want to know.
Okay, so I still can't talk about what I did in it, but next month I think Mafia Trilogy, I'm in there. So and that, dude, it's gonna freaking blow your mind. It's a massive, awesome game. It's really, really cool. And then I have another to be announced that's coming in November. Also several different chapters of Elder Scrolls Online you can catch me on right now, and you can hear me in honest trailers every single week. So not in the game trailer so much. That had nothing to do with me though, for people who keep asking. You don't always get picked. You don't always get to pick when you get replaced by people. So
keep doing this voice. So so one of my favorite voices, I don't know who does it, but did you ever watch Rob Zombie's cartoon?
I know Rob Zombie is, but
El Supervisto?
No,
yeah, well, so they have that. There's a guy, I can't find out who he is, but he does the zombie Nazis, and he has like a okay, and he talks like this a lot, and I can't figure out who he is. And you keep doing
I
a
have
voice.
To hear it.
Huh?
I have to hear it to know who it is.
Okay.
You ever think about checking the credits at the end, or Google, or?
Yeah. Well, I just on the spot. So I'll say
we had a phone that was
pretty
smart.
When it comes to celebrities, I can pick them out pretty easy. When it comes to voice actors, a little bit harder. When it comes to just random stuff, You never know with random stuff. It could be somebody you never heard of before.
I'll send you a link so you can kind of give it a look. Do you have a favorite voice that you do? Do you have one like other than Optimus
Prime's my favorite, but honestly, over the last 3 years, Deadpool / Ryan Reynolds has slowly become one of my top favorite ones to do.
You are
because it's so fun to do. I make people laugh so easy with that voice. There's a couple of them that's it's no effort. It's just minimum effort, to slip right into and just instantly be able to improv in because I've gotten so good at it. And I filled in for him for like 3 or 4 movies now for his voice. I used to for the temporary scratch stuff. And sometimes they'll actually, like in Detective Pikachu, there's a couple spots you can actually hear me as Ryan in there, but you'll never know. I'll tell you one though. One of them's pretty obvious. So in the cage match versus Charizard, when Pikachu gets into the fetal position, goes Pika Pika. That's actually me because they thought mine was funnier than Ryan's was. She was actually there, by the way. I saw her leaving as I was coming in to record. I was like, I bet that was Pikachu, wasn't it? They're like, yeah. I was like, how did you know? I was like, oh, it's Detective Pikachu. She had about 15 people around her, and I just assumed that's probably the voice of Pikachu from Japan.
That's amazing, man. That's so good. We just watched that film again, too, because we just finally watched the new Sonic the Hedgehog film, and we were like, let's watch Detective Pikachu, too. So that's cool that was you.
The other
That was like, what, a week and a half?
That one's a super fun one to do. That one I can just do all day long, and it never gets tiring. That's not in the least bit depressing. And Will Ferrell has more than one voice. I know that he has his normal speaking voice, his nice guy voice, but then he does this back of the throat thing all day long for Ron Burgundy. What did you say? No one touches the hair, not even me. And I filled in for him for Ron Burgundy too, on a couple of different things, and for President Business which is basically the same character if you think about it. Taco Tuesdays, everyone. And it's just yeah, exactly. It makes people laugh, and I love voices that just get an instant laugh out of people. But I don't have to have a line. I just start talking all day long, baby. Wearing my diapers. I switched over to pull-ups. I'm a big boy now. That's right. I can pull them off and on, mommy. Wow. And then when you wet them, you can see a picture, so I know when I'm dirty.
That's so good. So I have a question. So you fill in for voices too.
Yeah,
we were
really
so we apparently don't check credits. Okay, that's something.
Okay. A lot of ADR is not credited, so you're not. Don't feel bad.
Oh, okay. So there's a TV show that Saren and his crew, the household has been watching called Don't.
Okay.
And
I feel like I've heard this.
Okay, so maybe that wasn't you then, because there's a narrator that sounds just like Ryan Reynolds, and we were like, is that Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
No, he bought it. That's his show.
That's Ryan
Reynolds.
Reynolds'
Yeah, that's really him. Yeah, he bought that show.
Okay,
so check the credits, guys. That's produced and created and blah 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 by Ryan Reynolds right there. You can see mine. You can see my. I actually did get credited for Detective Pikachu because I had one other speaking role right before the final battle. You hear the news anchor talking about the annual Rhyme City Pokemon Parade. That was actually me too. And then what's really funny is that there's so much bigger voice actors than me that worked on the movie, but because they did it alphabetically, I got like second to first billing or something. I was like, yeah, look at me, number one.
Nice.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs, he was number 1.
And in Bumblebee, you can see me sandwiched right in between my buddy Steve Bloom and Greg Griffin. Also 3 people on the show I knew personally, which is really cool to get to work with them on something like that. That was awesome.
That's great.
But most of the time we don't actually get any credits, so that's cool.
Sucks.
Still pays the
bills. That's really cool to know. Is there a moment in your career?
Underwater, you guys like horror movies, I assume, based on the whole podcast thing.
Yeah,
did y'all check out Underwater? Because it's actually pretty decent.
The one with Megan Stewart?
The one with the chick from Twilight, right?
Yeah. Is that
Kristen Stewart? Is that her name? What was her name?
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, we figured it out. Yeah, see, we do know things from Twilight, y'all. We don't just hate y'all stuff. So yeah, I did. I filled in for T.J. Miller in that movie because obvious reasons, folks. Not going to go into that right now, but yeah. So yeah, most of the stuff you hear on the radio and in the helmets and stuff, that's actually me, which is cool.
That's
okay.
Yeah,
what is
credited? It's cool.
That's incredible. And John, if we're taking you too long, let us know and cut us off. We're just having a good time, man. But if you gotta,
yeah, I just realized it's like 1 hour and a half in. But I mean, if you guys ain't got any last minute questions or whatever, I mean,
hit me. I got something crazy here. If you'd be willing to participate, but it's gonna take Saren here too. Are you willing to have? You
guys don't need that.
I want to know if you're willing to have a meat waff.
A who?
Oh God.
A meat long?
Meat waff. Wait, ask him.
Meat waff.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. I can do me right all day long. So y'all just bring it on right now. Bring it in.
We got ourselves some John Bailey here, brother.
I thought I was the only one. There's some two balls in there. Better roll your booty on over because I think I got myself a new girlfriend. That's right.
Oh man, here we get you some sugar and everything. We're gonna go right
Well,
downtown.
it's kind of got him a little bit there to be careful now. It's burning the elements. There ain't no government in permits up in here, y'all.
And everything in it's
Meanwhile, get your
is
phone and get out of here.
Whoa!
Stick you in the dryer again because I'll do it. Don't worry, he likes it. It's fine.
I've never.
He has just crapped himself. I hope you wore your brown pants. That's what I do. I do voices. I hope you're ready because I'm coming for you. Come all over you. That's what I'm gonna come.
That's so natural for you. You just like jump
I
right
can
in.
do this all day. I can do every character in that show right now. I can do Frylock. And so when I went to Dragon Con, dude, I was like the whole weekend. I was like this for real. I messed my roommate so hard. He didn't even know it. And he was like, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about."
Holy shit,
And a little
that's
story,
spot on.
a little story about this guy. So the guy that does these voices, so the same guy that does Carl also does Meatwad. So I'm going up there to get these guys signed and stuff or whatever. Now most voice actors, just hear me out here. So most voice actors, they do not like people doing impressions of their characters to them. So don't do that. It's not nice. But if they ask you to do it, it's fair game. So the guy comes up and he's like, I said, dude, I've been like messing with my roommate all weekend doing this voice. Yeah, you know what I mean? And he's like, oh yeah, let's hear it then. And holy crap, dude, the whole line got really quiet all of a sudden. I was like, well, I'm not saying or nothing, but if anything should happen to you, I'm not saying that I couldn't replace you or whatever. So like it's like mafia style jokes. I don't know. Everybody froze in a bad position, so I don't know if it was laughing or not, or they thought it was serious. But actually, he's like, so what you're saying is something happened to me, you could replace me or something. I was like, well, I'm not saying I don't know a guy who could hook you up with some concrete shoes, and nobody would know. You know what I mean? And he goes, dude, that was really good. Like that's how I do, baby, all day. I roll. That's how I roll. Apparently, some of these guys they love. So what they're looking for, this one particular guy, the guy who does Meatwad and Carl, he loves to find people who do bad impressions, and he roasts them so hard. He was hoping to get me, and he didn't know I did voices for real. That it was so funny the interaction when the whole line was like, "Oh crap," and they thought he was gonna be like, "That's the most ridiculous blankety blank, whatever."
That was
That's amazing.
That was glorious.
Yeah, 'cause
John,
hey, so
I
hit me with your first shot. Come on, I'll give you 4 more minutes. You'll find something I can't do. I get there.
Okay,
Not this
well,
one out there you can't give me.
we gotta think about this.
They're gonna start getting into hard ones.
Oh no. I just want to think of who I love.
Okay.
I want
When Satan looks like he likes a little Bobcat Goldthwait, I don't know. Maybe it's the way he's smoking on the vapors or whatever, man.
I want your pick, your best Billy West.
My best Billy West? Oh dear. Everyone get aboard the shuttle. We're late for class.
I don't know what we're gonna do. I could do Billy West all day. What are you talking about?
I don't know how many voices he does in the show, and I haven't watched in a while, but yeah, I could probably do
It's
it.
like 28 or
I
something.
could probably do like 5 or 10 of those voices if I really wanted to. I don't do these voices in person. Like on the podcast for you guys, it's fine, whatever. But when it comes to cartoon voices specifically, I try not to step on toes because that's where I want to go. And you don't want to be like, hey, this guy's gonna replace me for real. Like Jess Harnell nicknamed me the Scud Missile. Because he's like, this guy's coming after all our voices. I'm like, no, I'm not. I want to work with you guys, not against you. I don't want to steal your job.
I know that. How about see, I'm bad with names, but he does Pete from Goof Troop. He does Cat from Cat Dog.
That's right, Jim Cummings.
I am the terror that flaps in the night.
Well, hello there. How are you, Josh? Do you have a spot of honey? Well, hey there, buddy boy. Did somebody say honey? T-I-double-G-R.
Oh my God.
That was awesome.
I don't think
Jim Cummings does movie trailers.
Yeah, I've heard him do that too. So one of the few guys that does a bit of both. A bit of bad, a bit of good, a bit of both.
that's pretty good. You guys got any more? He said 3 more.
I'm just.
I normally don't go for
process.
guys like this popped up on Mountain Dew right now. So
That's
All
great.
right.
jump
All
in the
right.
next man.
What about a Christopher Walken?
Oh, wow. He's talking about slow balls. Come on, Skinny. I know you can do better than that. You do this all day. You can do this. My mother could do this voice in her sleep, Skinny. Come on. You gotta throw me some hard ones.
What about the guy who does? I'm so again bad with names. The guy who does
Yours are harder. It's like the guy that was in the thing the one time.
Bender. The guy who plays Bender in Futurama.
John DiMaggio.
I also. Oh, wait. That's one. Get back in your hole. I got some on me. Yeah, John DiMaggio. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I think Skinny talked over you when you did Bender, though. I didn't hear it.
Oh,
yeah. Bender? Well, you can just bite my shiny metal ass then. That one's hard to do because John's got a very unique voice. It's hard to do impressions of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's security for you, John.
That was close. What about Jim? Who? Oh, Saren? One more, man. One more.
Oh no, I'm good. You guys do. I can't even right now.
Okay, guys, come on, man. I can't even right now, guys.
No, but I can odd, sure.
Well, I can odd, sure. I mean, I could do impressions of you guys if you really want me to right now.
Oh, okay.
Mine's easy. I just don't talk.
Okay,
that's true. You just talk like this all the time. I mean, you kind of sound like John C. Reilly when you talk a little bit. You're gonna rap.
Oh my God!
My drumstick. Did you touch my drumstick? I know you touched my drum set.
I know you're lying because Cops comes on at what? I forget that part.
Time 10:30. I gave you your chance and finally I couldn't do. Oh, well.
John,
I can tell you my weakness. I can tell you my weaknesses, but I'm not going to.
Let's do it. You know what?
This very well. That's one of my weaknesses.
I was a big fan of you on all your Instagram posts, but after today, I am
fan.
I am a huge. I love what you do, and you're so energetic, genuine, insanely talented at voices.
That's just the coke, bro. That's just nothing but coke right there. All day. Yeah. Woo! Let's do another hour right now. Come on. I got some speed too. You want to go? Let's go, bro.
I just
like the smell of it, man.
I don't want it to end. I just keep trying to keep it on. John, keep going. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. We'll have this.
Is this the shameless self-promotion part of the show?
Of course.
Yeah, plug yourself, man. Plug yourself away.
Yes, tell us everything.
Oh, I got plugs. I'm wearing one right now. I can't do that without laughing. No adult jokes. I'm sorry, Lord, I'm sorry about that right there. Be with the starving pygmies in the Guinea. So yeah, I'm at Epic Voice Guy on all the things. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on TikTok, which is doing most of my content goes to TikTok. If you guys really like my stuff, I do way more posts there. But if you like full unedited versions of the content, I post that to YouTube, and also on Instagram. I'm doing a lot of cool stuff over there. I'm trying to give everything a little flavor of its own stuff. So you have to follow everything to see all the stuff, you know, like you guys do with your Pokemon cards and stuff. Because I know you guys. I know you got Pokemon cards probably in your underwear right now. Collect me like ball cards. Follow me on all the things, guys. Free aviation gin for every purchase. Free autograph too. It's not mine. Sorry.
It's so good, and you have to check him out, guys. He's so entertaining. I'm a big fan of his.
I'm naked under these clothes, just so you know.
John, it's been an honor, man. Before we let you go, could you do us one more honor and give us a Deadman Radio on? This is John Bailey, and you're listening to Deadman Radio on KOUV and any of the voices that you prefer. Your epic voice, Optimus. Whichever.
This is John Bailey, and you're listening to, what was it again?
Deadman Radio on KOUV.
That was a KOUV. That was the part I could remember.
This is John Bailey, and you are listening to Deadman Radio on KUOV, FM Radio 100. The best top hits of the 80s and 90s, all night long. Transform and roll out.
Deadman Radio.
Radio.
It's like sex for my ears.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Dude, I think they killed Skinny, yo. Go, dude. Badger, they killed Skinny. I know, right, Jesse? I can't believe they killed off Skinny. Hey, you got any of that blue, bro?
Jesse, get your friends out of my house, Jesse. I am the danger.
Oh my God!
I am the terror that flaps in the night.
Away for 5 seconds because I was about to.
I am the one who
myself.
I am Darkwing Duck.
Oh, that was a great Darkwing Duck. That was beautiful.
That was dark. That was breaking duck.
Thank you, John, so much, man. I hope you have a great night. Be safe because the fires. I know that your job
We're
is
right in the middle. We're fine. I mean, it looks like the apocalypse outside. No big deal. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, just take
it's
care of
all
that foot, man, because you're.
And I'll be walking around like this. Well, you're welcome to leave Los Angeles when I have my permission to die.
It's very painful.
You've been listening to Deadman Radio at KOUV with John Bailey, blowing our fucking minds. You guys all have a great night. See you next week.
Goodbye then.
It's like sex
Hold on,
for
John.
my ears.
Oh, John, thank you so much, man. That was incredible. We're off radio now.
Fuck, dude, you killed me.
Allegedly.
That was an overload of epicness. This is probably, I'm not just saying this, John. This is probably my favorite fucking show.
Well, you caught me on a good night. I was in good form tonight, man.
Good.
It helped me out. I had Wreck-It Ralph over here. That was appreciate that. Nice to have vocal props right there for me to use. Appreciate that, sir.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's so good. You're John C. Reilly, dude.
You didn't answer my question though. Did you touch my drum set?
I
know you touched my drumsticks. Because there's a chip that wasn't there before, so I know you touched them.
Wow.
I'm gonna wreck it.
That's so good, dude.